My beloved child, before this message unfolds, I need you to do one thing. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. What is about to be revealed is not a simple story, not a random coincidence, and not something that happens every day. There was an energy around your person last night that caused a chain of events nobody expected. While everyone around them believed it was just another ordinary gathering, something unusual happened. Something that made people stop talking. Something that made heads turn. Something that made a room full of people suddenly pay attention. And strangely, every road in that moment seemed to lead back to you. Stay till the end because the most important part has not even begun. There are moments in life when people accidentally reveal what they usually keep hidden. They do not plan it. They do not prepare for it. It simply slips out because their heart becomes louder than their mind. Last night carried that kind of energy. Your person walked into a family gathering carrying thoughts they had been holding for a long time. They tried to appear normal. They tried to blend into the conversations. They tried to smile and act as if everything was the same as always. But deep inside, something was different. Their attention was drifting. Their emotions were rising. And the people around them slowly started noticing that they were not fully present in the room. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. At first, nobody understood what was happening. Family members were sharing stories. Laughter filled the room. Conversations moved from one topic to another. Yet your person seemed distracted. Every few minutes they would pause. Every few minutes they would stare into space. Every few minutes they would react as though they were remembering something important. And then came the moment nobody expected. Someone asked them a simple question. It was an innocent question. The kind of question people ask without thinking twice. But the answer that followed changed the atmosphere completely. Instead of giving a short response, your person suddenly became emotional. Not in a dramatic way. Not in a way that caused panic. But in a way that made everyone curious. Their voice carried sincerity. Their words carried truth. And before they realized what they were doing, they started talking about something that had been living quietly in their heart. The room became quieter. Conversations slowed down. Even people who had not been listening carefully suddenly paid attention. What happened next is the reason you need to stay until the end. Your person began describing someone who had changed their perspective. Someone who had taught them lessons they never expected to learn. Someone who had left a mark on their life without even realizing it. As they spoke, family members exchanged looks. They were trying to figure out who this mysterious person could be. Some smiled. Some looked surprised. Some became deeply interested. And the more your person spoke, the more obvious it became that this was not an ordinary connection. The strange part was not what they said. The strange part was how they said it. Their voice carried a kind of certainty that cannot be faked. Their words carried admiration. Their expressions carried respect. Every sentence sounded like it came from a place far deeper than simple conversation. And little by little, the people around them started asking questions. Who is this person? Why do they matter so much? Why are you speaking about them like this? Your person tried to laugh it off. They tried to move on. They tried to change the subject. But the room would not let them. Everyone had become curious. Everyone wanted answers. Everyone sensed there was a bigger story hiding beneath the surface. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As the gathering continued, something unexpected happened. One family member shared an observation that instantly changed the mood. They pointed out that your person's face seemed brighter whenever they mentioned this special individual. Suddenly the room filled with playful reactions. People began noticing details they had ignored before. They remembered previous conversations. They remembered previous moments. They remembered small clues that suddenly started making sense. And that is when realization began spreading through the room. Your person had been carrying these feelings much longer than anyone knew. The people closest to them started connecting dots. They started remembering names. They started remembering stories. They started realizing that whenever certain topics appeared, your person's attention would instantly change. It was as if pieces of a puzzle were falling into place right in front of everyone. Yet the biggest moment was still ahead. One older family member, known for their wisdom, quietly listened to everything. They did not interrupt. They did not rush to conclusions. They simply observed. Then, after a long silence, they shared a few words that instantly captured everyone's attention. They said that sometimes the most meaningful connections reveal themselves not through grand actions, but through repeated thoughts. Through constant remembrance. Through genuine appreciation. Through the inability to stop talking about someone when their name enters the conversation. The room became silent. Because everyone knew exactly what those words meant. Your person became quiet too. For the first time all evening, they had no quick response. And that silence spoke louder than anything else. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. The gathering continued, but the energy had changed. The conversations that followed were different. People started sharing their own experiences. Stories about unexpected connections. Stories about people who entered their lives and changed everything. Stories about moments they never saw coming. And with every story that was told, your person seemed to reflect more deeply. It was as if they were seeing their own situation from a completely new perspective. And then came another surprising moment. Someone asked a question so direct that the entire room paused. If this person means so much to you, why haven't you told them? The question hung in the air. Nobody rushed to answer it. Nobody laughed. Nobody changed the subject. Everyone simply waited. Your person smiled. Not because they had an answer, but because the question touched a truth they had been avoiding. A truth that was becoming harder and harder to ignore. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As the evening moved forward, your person seemed different. More thoughtful. More reflective. More aware of what had happened. The gathering that started as an ordinary family event had unexpectedly become a mirror. It showed them feelings they had been trying to keep hidden. It showed them thoughts they had been pushing aside. It showed them just how often one particular person occupied their mind. And if you are listening carefully right now, you may already understand why this story matters. Because sometimes life creates situations that reveal what people refuse to admit to themselves. Sometimes one conversation can expose months of hidden emotions. Sometimes one evening can create clarity that years of thinking could not provide. And last night carried exactly that kind of energy. The family gathering eventually came to an end. People returned home. Conversations faded. The room became quiet. Yet the impact remained. The words remained. The questions remained. The realizations remained. Most importantly, the thoughts remained. Because after everything that happened, after every conversation, after every unexpected revelation, one thing became impossible to ignore. The person they kept thinking about was still on their mind. The person they kept describing was still in their heart. The person they could not stop mentioning was still occupying their thoughts. And that realization followed them long after the gathering ended. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the biggest revelation is this: sometimes the universe places people in situations where their own words reveal what they have been hiding. Not to embarrass them. Not to pressure them. But to help them see the truth more clearly. Last night may have looked like an ordinary gathering from the outside. But for your person, it became something much bigger. It became a moment of realization. A moment of reflection. A moment that forced them to acknowledge what had been quietly growing inside for a very long time. And while nobody can predict exactly what happens next, one thing is certain. The thoughts that surfaced last night did not disappear when the gathering ended. The emotions that appeared did not vanish when the conversation stopped. The realizations that emerged did not fade when everyone went home. Instead, they followed your person into the next chapter of their journey. And that chapter may be much closer than anyone expects. A strange silence followed your person after that family gathering ended. The laughter was gone. The conversations had faded. The lights had dimmed. Yet something inside them remained awake. Something refused to settle. Something refused to disappear. My beloved child, this is where the story becomes even more surprising. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As your person left the gathering, they expected everything to return to normal. They thought the evening would become just another memory. They believed the questions would fade away and the emotions would calm down. But that is not what happened. In fact, the exact opposite happened. The more they tried to move on from the conversations of the evening, the more those conversations echoed inside their mind. Every word spoken by family members replayed itself. Every observation returned. Every question seemed louder than before. It was almost as if the gathering had planted a seed of realization that could no longer be ignored. Your person sat quietly for a while thinking about everything that had happened. Then they remembered something that shocked even them. Throughout the entire gathering, one name had silently remained at the center of their thoughts. One image kept appearing in their mind. One person kept influencing their emotions without even being physically present. And that realization changed everything. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. For the first time, your person stopped trying to explain their feelings away. They stopped telling themselves it was coincidence. They stopped pretending it was temporary. Instead, they began asking themselves questions they had avoided for a long time. Why do I think about this person so often? Why does their happiness matter to me? Why do their words stay with me longer than anyone else's? Why do I remember the smallest details about them? The answers did not arrive immediately. But the questions themselves were powerful enough to create a shift. Meanwhile, something even more unexpected was happening. Back at the gathering, family members continued talking about the conversation long after your person had left. Some were curious. Some were surprised. Some felt there was more to the story than what had been revealed. They discussed the sincerity in your person's voice. They discussed the warmth in their expressions. They discussed the way their entire energy seemed to change whenever that special individual came up. And one family member made a statement that nobody could forget. They said, "You can always tell when someone truly matters." Their name changes the atmosphere. The room fell silent. Because everyone knew exactly what they had witnessed. Your person's atmosphere had changed. Their eyes had changed. Their energy had changed. And nobody could deny it. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. Hours passed. The night grew quieter. Yet your person found themselves unable to stop thinking about the evening. The more they reflected, the more they realized that the gathering had revealed something important. It had shown them a truth they could no longer ignore. Sometimes people do not realize how much someone means to them until other people point it out. Sometimes the heart speaks so naturally that everyone notices except the person feeling it. Sometimes a room full of observers can see what one individual has been blind to for months. And that was exactly what happened. Your person began replaying specific moments. Moments when they spoke about you. Moments when they remembered something connected to you. Moments when they smiled without even realizing it. The pattern became impossible to ignore. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then came the biggest realization of all. Your person remembered how comfortable they felt whenever thoughts of you appeared. They remembered how naturally your presence entered their mind. They remembered how different life felt before they knew you compared to after. That realization created a powerful emotional moment. Not because it answered every question, but because it revealed how important those questions truly were. Many people enter our lives. Many people leave impressions. Many people become memories. But very few become a constant presence inside our thoughts. Very few continue appearing in our mind during ordinary moments. Very few remain significant even when they are not physically around. And your person was beginning to understand that difference. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The following morning brought even more clarity. When your person woke up, the first thing they remembered was not the food from the gathering. Not the decorations. Not the conversations. Not the jokes. It was the realization they had experienced while talking about you. That memory stood above everything else. It remained brighter, stronger, more meaningful. And that surprised them. Because they finally understood that what happened during the gathering was not random. It was not accidental. It was not meaningless. It was revealing. It was showing them something they needed to see. Something they needed to understand. Something they needed to acknowledge. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. As the day continued, another unexpected event occurred. A family member reached out to your person and casually mentioned the gathering. At first the conversation seemed ordinary. Then the family member laughed and said something unforgettable. You spoke about that person more than you realized. Your person paused. For a moment they had no response. Because deep down they knew it was true. The statement was simple. But its impact was enormous. Sometimes a single sentence reveals more than 1,000 explanations. Sometimes one observation breaks through every excuse. And this observation struck directly at the heart of what your person had been avoiding. The truth. The undeniable truth. The truth that had quietly followed them through the entire gathering. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. As evening approached once again, your person found themselves reflecting on the future. Not the distant future. Not years ahead. Simply the next chapter. The next conversation. The next opportunity. The next moment where choices would matter. And for the first time in a long time, they felt different. More honest. More aware. More connected to their own feelings. The gathering had done something unexpected. It had removed confusion. It had removed distractions. It had removed excuses. And what remained was clarity. A growing awareness that certain people enter our lives for a reason. A growing awareness that some connections cannot be ignored forever. A growing awareness that the heart often knows the truth long before the mind accepts it. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the greatest revelation of this chapter is not what your person said at the gathering. It is what they understood afterward. They understood that some thoughts keep returning because they matter. They understood that some names carry unusual significance. They understood that some people leave a lasting imprint on the heart. And most importantly, they understood that the evening had revealed something they could no longer pretend not to see. The gathering ended. The conversations ended. The laughter ended. But the realization did not end. In fact, it was only beginning. And what happens next may become the most important part of this entire story. A remarkable truth began unfolding after those realizations settled into your person's heart. My beloved child, what you are about to hear is perhaps the most surprising chapter yet. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The days following the family gathering felt different for your person. Nothing on the outside appeared unusual. The world continued moving as normal. Responsibilities remained the same. Daily routines stayed unchanged. Yet inside, something had shifted forever. The gathering had ended, but the questions it created were still alive. Every quiet moment brought reflection. Every pause brought understanding. Every memory seemed connected to one specific person. And that person was you. At first, your person tried to focus on other things. They immersed themselves in daily activities. They occupied their schedule. They stayed busy. But something unusual kept happening. No matter where their attention went, their thoughts eventually found their way back to you. That was the moment they started realizing this was not a temporary feeling. This was not a passing thought. This was not an ordinary connection. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. One afternoon, while sitting quietly, your person remembered a small detail about you that nobody else would have considered important. It was not a major event. It was not a dramatic memory. It was something simple. Yet they remembered it perfectly. The realization surprised them. Why had they remembered such a specific detail? Why had that memory remained so clear? Why did it still make them smile? The answer slowly became obvious. Because the things connected to you carried meaning. Because your presence had left a deeper impression than they had ever admitted. Because some people become unforgettable without even trying. And your person was beginning to understand that truth more clearly than ever before. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. Then something happened that made everything even more powerful. A family member who attended the gathering brought up the event again during a casual conversation. They laughed about the reactions. They laughed about the questions people asked. Then they made an observation that instantly caught your person's attention. They said, "You seemed happiest when talking about that person." Those words landed with incredible force. Your person smiled. But deep inside, they knew there was truth in that statement. Sometimes the people around us notice things we overlook. Sometimes outsiders can see our emotions more clearly than we can. Sometimes the truth becomes visible through the eyes of others. And this was one of those moments. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. That evening became a turning point. Your person found themselves replaying every important interaction they had ever shared with you. They remembered conversations. They remembered laughter. They remembered moments of understanding. They remembered the feeling of connection. The more they reflected, the more one realization continued growing stronger. You had become part of their story. Not just a passing chapter. Not just a temporary moment. A meaningful part of their journey. And that realization carried enormous emotional weight. Because once someone reaches that understanding, it becomes difficult to ignore. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. Then came a moment that nobody expected. While thinking about everything that had happened, your person imagined what life would feel like if they had never met you. The answer arrived instantly. Something would be missing. Something important. Something valuable. The realization caught them completely off guard. For the first time, they were not focusing on what they felt in a particular moment. They were focusing on the impact you had already made. The difference you had created. The space you occupied in their thoughts. And suddenly everything became clearer. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The family gathering had done much more than create an interesting conversation. It had exposed hidden truths. It had revealed hidden emotions. It had uncovered hidden appreciation. Most importantly, it had forced your person to recognize something they had been carrying inside for a very long time. Recognition. Acknowledgement. Understanding. And once those things arrive, they rarely disappear. The more your person reflected, the more they realized that their thoughts about you were not based on fantasy. They were based on genuine experiences. Real conversations. Real moments. Real memories. And that made everything feel even more significant. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. Days continued passing. But instead of fading, the realization became stronger. Every reminder brought clarity. Every memory brought understanding. Every reflection brought honesty. Your person could no longer pretend the gathering had been meaningless. It had changed something. It had opened a door. It had created awareness. And awareness has a powerful effect. Once you truly see something, you cannot unsee it. Once you understand something, you cannot unknow it. Once you acknowledge something, it becomes part of your reality. That is exactly what was happening. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Then came perhaps the most shocking realization of all. Your person understood that throughout the gathering, they never planned to talk about you. They never intended to make you the center of attention. They never expected your name or your memory to influence the evening. Yet it happened naturally. Effortlessly. Without planning. Without preparation. Without intention. And that made it impossible to dismiss. Because the most genuine truths are often the ones that appear naturally. The things we force can be questioned. The things that happen naturally reveal the heart. And your person was beginning to recognize exactly what their heart had been trying to tell them. Stay till the end because something huge is waiting for you. Late one evening, while reflecting on everything, your person experienced a quiet moment of clarity. Not a dramatic revelation. Not a sudden transformation. Just a simple understanding. The understanding that some people leave a lasting impact. The understanding that some connections deserve attention. The understanding that certain individuals become impossible to forget. And as that understanding settled in, a sense of peace followed. Because sometimes confusion disappears the moment we stop fighting the truth. Sometimes clarity arrives when we finally accept what has been obvious all along. And that was exactly where your person now stood. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the greatest revelation of this chapter is not that your person talked about you during a family gathering. The greatest revelation is what happened afterward. The gathering ended. The conversations ended. The questions ended. But their thoughts about you did not end. In fact, they became stronger, clearer, more meaningful, more impossible to ignore. And now your person stands at the edge of a new understanding. An understanding built not on assumptions, not on guesses, not on imagination, but on realization. The realization that some people enter our lives and quietly change everything. The realization that some connections continue growing even when nobody notices. The realization that certain names remain in our hearts long after conversations end. And the realization that what began as an ordinary family gathering may have become one of the most important moments of awareness your person has ever experienced. The story is far from over. In fact, the most powerful chapter is still ahead.